Episode 42B, Bonus Time. This episode brought to you by reelsandtackle.com, your family-owned online tackle store.
Welcome to the Tell Tale Fisherman Podcast, where avid anglers share the story of their best fishing day ever to inspire yours. Now it's time for another epic adventure. So here's your host, John Woodson.
Hello and welcome to this special bonus episode. When I interviewed FLW Tour Pro Cody Kelley, we had a great time talking about his background, the awesome charity work he does, and his epic story of one of his early tournaments that helped to propel his pro career. But I just couldn't help myself, and I had to ask him to tell us about the biggest bass he ever caught. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this big bass bonus with Cody Kelley. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about your big bass story. Would you mind sharing with us what your biggest bass is and how what it was like when you caught that?
I'm a little bit ashamed to say my largest fish, I don't know what it weighed. I didn't have a scale on the boat. It's rookie move, cardinal sin of fishing, I know. But I'll tell you the story. So we were on Lake Brewer. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's a little bitty lake in Arkansas, north central Arkansas. Okay. They've had a few college events out there, and it's been on ESPN, the college championship. Actually, I think they did a major league fishing out there as well.
Oh, yeah, that's Jason probably Christie where I've heard of it.
Flipping bushes. Yep. And so we were out there, and me and my buddy were just poking around. Old college buddy. He's actually fishing the Evan Barnes. He's actually fishing the tour with us now. This is his second year, and I was like, hey, man, let's run out there and see if we can catch a few. So we go out there, and we had been fishing all day, and we had an okay day. We had, we had caught some 3-pounders, a few 4s, but this place has them. They have some large fish. And it's big brush pile, big offshore type stuff in the summer. And I had picked up, I don't know if you know the Storm Wild Eye swim bait.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just, you can get them at like Dick's. They come in a 3 per pack. I'd bought these huge swim baits just as a joke, more or less, to play around with. Well, we get out on this brush pile. It's about 1 o'clock. We're ending the day, and he's sitting in the passenger seat in the boat, has his tackle box in the net, and I'm up on front. I was like, okay, man, a few more casts. I'm going to throw at this rock pile a few times. And so I chunked this big swim bait out there on the biggest, piece of rebar type rod I had. I mean, this thing's a salmon looking rod.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm cranking it in real slow. And I said, Evan, look at my rod. And it's just barely just tick, 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 tick. And I said, it must be white bass, because this place is full of white bass. I said, must be white bass. And about that time, the rod absolutely doubles over. And I start, set the hook, start cranking on him. And you need the net? No, it's fine. It's like a 5-pounder, Mm-hmm. And he starts I start fighting him around the boat, and he comes up and jumps right beside where Evan's sitting, right beside the seat. And, a giant bass like that, all you see is quarter-size eyes and a huge, coffee can mouth.
Oh, yeah.
And he's, oh, my gosh, it's a 10-pounder. So now we have a 10-pounder jumping all beside the boat on a short string, and the net has a tackle box in it. So we start chasing this fish all around the boat. So finally we get the fish in the boat and put it in the live well for a minute. And we're looking, where's your scale? Where's your scale? And he had netted a 12 for somebody like the week before. So, the netman joke started ensuing shortly after that. So we put the fish in a live well and looked for a scale, can't find one. And we rode all over that lake, pulling up to fishermen, seeing if they had a scale. And when, we talked to like 10 guys, and not one person on that lake had a scale. So apparently it wasn't just me. So we let it go. I never got to weigh it. It was around 10-ish. And I hate that I didn't weigh it. But lesson learned, I have a scale on my boat at all times now.
Yeah, no kidding. I made that same mistake last year myself. I've been trying to get that 10-pounder forever, and caught one, and I had one of those lip grip scales, but it's not as good as the good digital scales. So I'm carrying one now. Lesson learned.
Now I did catch an 805 on the Arkansas River last February on a 1.5 square bill, and now let me say, a 5-pounder on the Arkansas River is a big one. Usually a 6-pounder wins our big $100,000 big bass contest. And so I caught an 8.5 out there on one of the pools that aren't really that good. And I actually managed to do it on film. How I lucked out into getting it all on film and everything, I don't know, but that was it. I'll probably never top that one, especially not on the river.
Yeah, that really is a monster for up there, isn't it?
Yeah. For that, places like that, the Arkansas River is pretty small. It's dirty. It's silted in. Not a lot of good spawning grounds. So it was pretty special to catch that. Like I said, and actually get it on film too. And I fought him forever. I had one little bitty hook in his head, chased him all around the boat. I'd have to go back and look, but I want to say I fought him for 2.5 minutes, which doesn't sound like a long time, but when you're fighting him, it feels like about 2.5 hours.
Oh yeah. Especially if you get them up close enough to see that they're barely hooked like that, then it seems like an extra eternity, doesn't it?
Oh goodness, yeah. And he actually came off in the net. I'll have to message the video to you, but he actually come off in the net. You can see the crankbait hanging in the top of the net. So as I went to put the net under him, he came off and I scooped him up. So it was just, things were just going right for me. It was just meant to happen, I guess.
Yeah. If only every tournament would go like that, right?
Yeah. What's funny is I was listening to, Captain Cannon, I believe, with the peacock bass fishing.
Yeah.
The last guy. So I was listening to that, and he was talking about how aggressive the peacock bass were, and catching them just hanging baits over the side. And I thought, goodness gracious, I wish I could have a day, just one day, that largemouth would be like that. That would be amazing. I'm a little jealous there. You need to get him back on and get him to tell you about catching Oscars down in the Everglades. I'm sure he does that a little bit.
Oh yeah. He does so many species. We covered so many different ones, and we're still kind of sneaking species in at the end there. We hardly got to all of them. So that's pretty neat stuff down there. Well, I hope that in this tournament you have coming up here in a couple days that you get on to another one of those big bass and everything goes right for you, man.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it. It's gonna be a good time. Like I said, there's Florida. It's so much fun to fish down there. Get to thaw out a little bit, get to set the hook on something, and you just can't beat it. I'm looking forward to getting down there.
If you're new to podcasts, there's a simple way to get our latest episodes delivered straight to your mobile device. For iOS, just click on the purple podcast icon. For Android, click on the play music icon. Then search for Tell Tale Fisherman, hit subscribe, and get ready to enjoy the most epic fishing adventures in the world.
This has been the Tell Tale Fisherman Podcast. Thanks for sharing another great tale with us. Be sure to check out the show notes page for more info on today's show and the gear we talked about. Keep those lines tight, and we'll catch you next time right here on the Tell Tale Fisherman Podcast.